Hello and welcome. British star Jenny Agutter began her movie career at the age of 12 in East of Eden, achieved international fame at 16 in The Railway Children, and went on to star in movies like Logan's Run, American Werewolf in London, and Captain America, the Winter Soldier. In recent years, she's been a regular in the British TV series called The Midwife as Sister Julienne, and recently her career roles have come full circle with a sequel to The Railway Children. But it was shortly after she'd finished shooting American Werewolf in London, directed by Jon Landis, that I caught up with Jenny at the Cannes Film Festival back in 1981. It was clear Jenny was not afraid to travel the world as part of her career, having appeared in the Australian outback film Walkabout with David Gulpilil at just 16, and in her early 20s quit London to try her luck in Hollywood. It was a move that would pay off handsomely for her, and so far she has more than 100 television and film credits to her name. But when we sat down to chat, I was first curious about her move back then from London to Los Angeles at such a relatively young age and so early into her career.
Jenny, you of course associated so much with British films, and yet you made a fairly business-like decision, quit London and went to live in LA. Has that paid off for you?
Yes, but it was both a personal and a business decision, I think. I had been in theatre for 3 years, and I'd been doing television and theatre, and I hadn't made a film for 6 years, which was Railway Children. So at the age of 21, having spent a year at the National, I wanted to do some more film. There didn't seem to be very much in England. I also felt personally that it was time to make a break. And if you go somewhere new, there's some sort of, you feel that you can get on with new things and you don't feel held back by people expecting you to be a certain way. And I went to Los Angeles, where I have contacts. My agents are also American. And also, we sort of speak the same language, makes it easier than going anywhere else. Almost. Not exactly. So that was why I went to the States. And in fact, it was quite a foolish move, because I might well have sat there and done nothing. And many people go to Los Angeles and nothing happens.
Yes.
But Michael Anderson was making this film, Logan's Run, and he had cast Michael York, and he was trying to find someone to play opposite. And he was having difficulty, and I was there, and he met with me, and he thought I was right, and screen tested me, and I got the role. And it was because of that I got Eagle Has Landed. I mean, there's nothing like work to give one work. You know, immediately you're doing something, you get going. But in fact, that's exactly what I'd wanted to do. Was there had been a whole period of time out. The last film had been as an adolescent, you know, in Railway Children and Walkabout also. And during that interim, I'd been given a chance to do theatre, to grow up, and I wanted to get back to film, which is in fact my first love. Although, funny enough, I love film, but I think you learn more in theatre.
How much of it, getting into LA, was having to go back to a certain point to start again in terms of getting work and so on?
Well, it was getting started again in the film industry. But the other ironic thing about it is that going to LA made it possible for me to do films in England. I mean, often people accuse you of, oh, you've left the country. You're not supporting the British film industry. But in fact, what would happen is that I wouldn't be employed in England, because in England they need somebody that is known abroad, and they need people that are known in America. So consequently, going to America made it possible for me to do English films like Equus and Eagle Has Landed and all of those pictures. And in fact, this film of Jon's.
Of course, you've just been out to Australia, not just, but about a year or so, to do a film called Survivor.
Right, which David Hemmings directed.
Directed, yes, with Robert Powell in it. What was it like coming back to Australia after, 10 years or so?
I've been back once, actually twice in between. Once was to promote Eagle Has Landed, and the other time was for This Is Your Life on David Gulpilil. So I feel as though I go back intermittently. But it was lovely to spend we were 8 weeks or so in Adelaide, and I enjoy it very much. It's funny, I feel very, I think because of being there at the age of 16, and at 16 you're very impressionable, Australia feels like a sort of home in a way. I mean, I feel I know it, and I know some people there, and it is an extraordinary place. I mean, I don't know, people that live there often just accept it. When you arrive and you're a visitor, and you get to go into the outback and you see some of those cities, and Sydney is a very beautiful city. It is wonderful. It's lovely to be there.
Now, talking of the travel and everything, in the movies, in fact, having gone to LA, you've just gone back to London to work, doing American Werewolf in London. What was it like working with that crazy man, Jon Landis, in a film about werewolves?
Yes. He has a great deal of energy, and I think that's one of the things that he brought to the set, which was he's constantly like that. It never goes. He enjoys everything, and he is up all the time. And because of Jon's energy and just that vitality all the time, it keeps the energy sustained. And for everybody, you can't help but catch it. You're exhausted at the end of the day, but
your role in it is as a nurse,
yes.
And it is a horror film. I mean, how much are you involved with the special effects and all that sort of?
Not at all. I think one of the things that was really interesting to me about the role is that it is a very good role, because in a horror film normally the female lead is spending all her time running from some beast and screaming. You know, the only exercise you get is to exercise your vocal cords and your legs. There's no expansion in a part at all. However, what Jon has written in this is a relationship. In fact, there are three relationships: the two boys and then David and myself, the nurse. The character is very real, very down to earth, a very solid character, and not involved in any of the transformation. Doesn't really know anything about it until the very end of the film. So what it is that I'm playing is a relationship that is growing with this young man who seems to think there is something odd going on, and I just think that he's traumatized.
Jenny, thank you very much. We hope to see you in Australia very shortly.
Well, I hope so. Thank you.
As I mentioned in the intro, Jenny is reprising her famous role from the original The Railway Children in a new film version of the story, which has been shot in the same English countryside around Yorkshire, which makes a lot of sense. Jenny turns 72 in December 2022 and continues to appear in a number of episodes of the British TV series Call the Midwife.